Okay, so when I wasn't really anticipating taking GRI 201 with Jody to begin with because as a freshman, they gave us our schedules, and during my orientation, they were, because I'm a business major, they were just kind of like, okay, like, like you need electives, that's a good class, you should stay in it. And I was like, okay, I don't even know what it is. I I didn't even look it up. And so I walk into the class and I've no clue what to expect. And then I find out. And for me, it was kind of weird to have just like a class that dealt with just like diversity and like understanding each other like on different levels, like gender, race, and like in any other way like you want to identify. And when I walked in, it was just kind of like this is new. I've never been exposed to this. Over the course of the semester, it was really eye opening for me because I'm pretty cookie cutter. Like I'm straight, I'm white, I'm a female. Like what you see is what I am. And so hearing like the struggles that like my classmates have been through because their identity is different in the way that they are or aren't accepted was just mind blowing. And it was really frustrating to me because some of the time I didn't understand. I I often just sat there listening to them like in awe, kind of like I cannot believe that happened. And like my thought process was always like it's not your life. Like why do you need to judge or put them down or like care? But then talking to my or hearing my classmates, um, they they want to be known as that. Like they want their identity to be known and respected, acknowledge them as so. And so I noticed that the saying like, oh, like it's not your life, don't care about it, like maybe you should care and maybe you should be like more open to how others identify themselves. So the first paper about my identity, I didn't have much to talk about. Like I said before, I'm very cookie cutter. I don't have like some different identity that I need or I feel the need to explain. So I kind of went off of like how I've interacted and how I've like grown up in the setting and environment that I did. I talked about how my grandmother was very like racist. So that was my first paper. It was a hard paper for me because I feel like I don't have like an identity kind of thing or like a unique one that I could write about for 5 pages. The next one is the history paper that I wrote. And for this one, I don't know. I wasn't about researching like, oh, I'm like 1/16th German. Like, I'm going to go research about it. No, I don't identify with that history. I didn't grow up with that history. I didn't, it wasn't me. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, what is my history? I could recite my textbook and talk about like Columbus coming over. So my history paper was on how, I don't want to say my people because I do not want to identify myself with them, how white people have like committed genocide and built this country on the backs of other races. Now coming to the end of the class, I feel like I could have made myself more useful. I heard about how my classmates are still oppressed, and it hurts seeing that people are not equal and do not feel equal, even if it's said to be equal. And I'm somewhat of a bystander. Through this class, I realized that I should have stepped up. I should have like supported them and been there, but I wasn't. and I feel like I would have gained more insight to everything if I did all the readings. A large question at the end of this course was like, so what? Like, what are we gonna do about it? And to be honest, I don't know. I think that like time doesn't heal everything, but time does help in a sense. So I think what needs to be done is all races, instead of just that race fighting to be viewed as equal and like not discriminated against, I think a lot of races need to come together to help fight for what they deserve. And so they need, instead of like having the oppressed, I know this sounds really bad, but instead of just having the oppressed, there needs to be a combination of everyone in it. So there's like the privileged, the oppressed, everything in between to be heard, because sometimes, like, for very small-minded people, they don't listen, they don't care. But as soon as someone of like the majority group is there, and those who are privileged are fighting for that, things are thought to be more important. And so what I think should be done, or like, is having that like that connection between all races and like all classes of any sort, all of everyone who identifies with whatever need to come together and fight for the battle, or not fight for the battle, fight for what these individuals or these groups of people deserve. And so I think that's what should be done. And that's going to be a lot of hard work, because I know for myself, like, because it doesn't like fully impact my life on a day-to-day basis, or it doesn't impact my life much at all, it's really hard to understand the importance. And like you need to disconnect from yourself, realize these people are really hurting, and act on it. And for those who aren't being like oppressed and that are living just day to day with no conflict, like, it's hard to see. And we're so self-absorbed that we need to step out, and like this course helps you do that. You realize what these people are really going through, and like who's going through what, and like the type of support they need, the type of support they want, the type of the support that they aren't getting but they would appreciate. Like, this course really does help, and I think that a large majority of people should be taking courses like this, because it's eye-opening and it will help. If it weren't for this course, I think I'd still be ignorant to all the things that still happen to people of color, or any race, or whoever identifies differently. And I think the more courses we have to offer and or make mandatory like these will truly help.